Maybe LeBron James wasn't the first one to take his talents to South Beach. Hello everyone and welcome to Movie Reviews by Josh. My name is Josh Terry and today I'd like to talk about One Night in Miami, which is a new movie on Amazon Prime that tells the fictional story of four black icons from the 1960s who get together one night in Miami to talk about the civil rights era, to talk about issues of racism, and how to be the most proactive and how to be the most effective from their positions in various aspects of popular culture. Now this is just a who of familiar names. You've got Malcolm X, you've got Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and you've got Sam Cooke, which is a personal favorite of mine because I've been a fan of his music for many, many years. This was a really, really interesting, fun movie. Just kind of an interesting concept. It's actually based on a play, but it's been adapted for a movie. Like I said, you can stream it online. And it tells a story. It takes place the night that Muhammad Ali beats Sonny Liston and becomes the heavyweight champion for the first time. Of course, at this point, he's still known as Cassius Clay. And that's one of the things that's really interesting about this movie is the way that all of the different key characters are at kind of a crossroads in life as far as who they are, what they're doing, and where their lives are about to take them. So of course, Cassius Clay has just become the heavyweight champion, but he's also just on the verge of becoming a Muslim and joining the Nation of Islam and becoming Muhammad Ali. And that's why he's been interacting with Malcolm X quite a bit. Of course, Malcolm X is also kind of a journey of his own. This movie takes place just before he's about to take his pilgrimage to Mecca, which had a big impact on his religious beliefs and the direction that he took in his life, his personal journey. Jim Brown is also at kind of an interesting point, a little bit different from the others because he's at the conclusion of his athletic career. He's just spent about 9 years just absolutely being the phenom of the backfield for the Cleveland Browns, running all over the NFL. But due to a variety of circumstances, he's starting to think about, heading into Hollywood and becoming a film star. Sam Cooke, of course, is also in an interesting spot because he's been a very successful soul singer for a long time, but he's having questions about his role in terms of civil rights and what he should be saying and not saying. And this movie is just kind of a creative, interesting way of taking these different real-life characters and putting them in conversations with each other to decide, well, what's the best way? I mean, because obviously, people like Malcolm X are very outspoken. People like Sam Cooke, were making inroads in different ways. And there are pros and cons and back and forth. And I think that having the connections to each one of these pop culture figures, of course, Malcolm X wasn't a pop culture figure, but kind of these very public figures makes this a really interesting watch. And of course, the performances really, really help out a lot. Of course, all of the performances are very strong, but Kingsley Ben-Adir, who plays Malcolm X, really shines here. He really captures not just kind of the mannerisms of the character, but he captures the spot in the journey. Like I said, at this point, Malcolm X is experiencing tensions with the Nation of Islam. He's thinking about kind of taking his own direction and has a lot of convictions, but there's also a lot that he's questioning, a lot that he's trying to figure out. And I think that the performance really portrays that very well. Of course, I also really enjoy Leslie Odom Jr., who is Sam Cooke, and the interaction. Even though the Cassius Clay Muhammad Ali situation, just having won the heavyweight title and thinking about announcing his membership or his conversion to Islam, even though that's one of the main narrative focal points, I think that the interchange between Sam Cooke and Malcolm X is what really drives this story. And those two characters and those two actors, I think, really kind of puts it over the top, I think, in a way that it made it very memorable for me. So, of course, the whole thing takes place in Miami, but it's really mostly in a hotel room. They gather in a hotel room immediately after the fight, before they're supposed to go out on the town and party, and they wind up kind of having this big philosophical discussion and back and forth. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. Regina King was the director, and yeah, I would give this one 3.5 stars out of 4 for sure. And it's the kind of one that might even grow on me after a little while. I would recommend this to anybody with an interest in civil rights and social issues and that kind of thing. Of course, it's impossible to watch a movie like this and not think about what are the parallels today. But I think to the movie's credit, it doesn't spell things out in an explicit way. It lets the viewer do some thinking of their own. And so I think that's why I say, I'd probably give it 3.5 stars now, but it's one that I could see growing into even better than that as time goes on. Now, One Night in Miami is rated R, but pretty much exclusively for language, and it's not a constant thing, but there's enough R-rated language scattered here and there that it's not a borderline R necessarily, but there's not a whole lot of anything else in terms of sexuality or violence. So what's your favorite Sam Cooke song? Leave your answers in the comments below. And I ask you that question specifically because I think a lot of you might not know a lot of Sam Cooke songs, and I think you should seek them out. Thanks everyone, this has been Movie Reviews by Josh. My name is Josh Terry, and I would be very, very flattered if you'd subscribe to my channel on your way out. Leave your notifications on so you can see the new videos as soon as they're posted. And in the meantime, have yourself a great night.